broken home. I gave you all the bricks that I own and know. I'm letting go. I'm breaking these walls down, breaking these walls down. If you want adventure, then fly to home. But if you wanna travel, then go alone. Yeah, what's the point in us if I never know? Yeah, if you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired of yesterday. I fell where my demons dwell. My own little nightmare, I call it hell. Oh well, it's time to get back up, climbing and climbing.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Friday's SharePoint Weekly Newsletter Roundup. We are going to go through a bunch of the news in the SharePoint space that we've compiled over the past week and put into our newsletter. So this news recap is going to be very specific to the Microsoft stack, the product specifically that Microsoft creates called SharePoint. And this is our attempt to kind of give back to the community and provide them sort of a consolidated list of news and things that are going on in the space. So yeah, let's dig in. I'm going to pull up the newsletter. Is something that we send out every Friday. Usually around 8 a.m.-ish it comes out. And then on Fridays I decided I'd like to jump online and go through it. See if anybody wanted to join me in kind of looking at the details of some of the stuff that is happening out there. So what I would like to do is post in Twitch. Where's my Twitch screen here? I'm going to paste the link to sign up for that newsletter if you're interested. There you go. That way you can get these in your inbox as well. If you're in, if your company is on Office 365 for your services, email, whatever, you've probably got access to SharePoint, which is a product that's included in the enterprise and business plans of Office 365. So if you've got access to that, that's what we're talking about. A product that comes with your subscription there. And a lot of the technology advancements and news and things wrapped around that product specifically. So some interesting information in this this tool and etc. So let me get this thing rolling. Let me open up my email. Let's get the newsletter up and let's take a look at it. There we go. Here's the email. So I'm gonna share my desktop with you guys so we can check that out together. All right, so here it is in email, right? So I can download photo or images so I can see that. But I like to view it in the browser, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to click this link, open it up in the browser. Just so you know, there's a way to view past newsletters if you're interested in reviewing some of the, I guess, previous news releases. So if I click that past issues, then you should get a nice archive list of the newsletters and be able to dig into them individually. There you go. All right, so this is the newsletter. The newsletter consists of some top news stories around the SharePoint space, and it could be anything around SharePoint. It could be the servers that make up SharePoint. It could be about Azure Cloud Services. It could be anything sort of in the Microsoft stack. But this newsletter kind of compiles all that up over the past week and puts it together here for you, so you can review and kind of stay on top of what's going on. So top news stories around the blogosphere, and then some of the upcoming SharePoint events that are occurring. Yeah. So here's a plug for our Twitch stream. So we're on Twitch, YouTube, and I'm doing a little bit of Facebook Live right now as well, so that I can kind of reach out to whatever audience is out there and maybe doesn't know that we do this. I just want to be available to everyone. So we are on those three major platforms. Well, let's dig in. We only got 30 minutes, and usually it takes up the whole 30 minutes to go through this thing. So I'm just going to dig in. I go into the top news stories a little bit more in detail than around the blogosphere. Yeah, we'll just see how far we get. Let's get into the first one. Microsoft migrates its largest portal site to SharePoint Online. Whoa. You know it's got to be large if it's Microsoft's, right? What do they have, like 80,000 employees now? Something like that? That's a good cup. Good cup of joe. So, migrates its largest portal site to SharePoint Online. SharePoint Online is the name for the Office 365 version of SharePoint. So it's migrating, what did I say? They're migrating our most critical infrastructure and services to the cloud to enable greater scalability, reliability, and agility. Blah, 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 blah. HR Web, okay. So they're moving HR Web, which provides HR information and solutions for 135,000 Microsoft employees. Oh, thought they had 80. 135,000 Microsoft employees use this tool, this HR Web tool. It's the most visited internal portal site at Microsoft. So that's probably a huge undertaking, I'm sure. Logging approximately 1 million employee page views each month. Isn't that nuts? Some of the things that it does are payroll, benefits, rewards, business travel letters, etc., etc., etc. Transforming our environment to meet our business needs. Cloud by default. Yep. What else? Addressing challenges and seeking solutions, inadequate performance, inconsistent access, complex content organization, poorly functioning components. So a bunch of the things that they're trying to resolve by moving there. The migration design, plan well, learn from the past. Yep. All right. I'm not going to go too deep into this because it really just kind of outlines, I guess, the path that they took to accomplish this and the issues that they were trying to resolve by moving to Office 365 or to SharePoint Online. So I'll let you guys kind of dig into the details of that, but just know that, Microsoft is officially, I guess, all moved in to SharePoint Online. It's eating its own dog food there, so that's good stuff. I'm going to close that one. I'm going to close down the past issues here. All right. That was a good one. PNP SharePoint Framework Property Controls, version 1.14 released. I do hit these up every morning in the open chat, these little releases and tidbits about versions being updated. And so we have talked about this on the open chat, but if you're doing any development against SharePoint, then you're probably, if you're not already, you should be familiar with the PNP SharePoint framework, which is sort of the new development methodology and sort of tool chain there for you to create your solutions now if you're writing code against SharePoint or maybe the Microsoft Graph API, etc. Then you're probably going to start using this kind of tooling. Interesting to note about SharePoint Framework, they're actually looking to include it in Teams, right? So you can actually write SharePoint Framework solutions and have them work in Microsoft Teams and in SharePoint Online. So pretty neat. I've been joking about how it's really going to convert from SharePoint Framework to the Office Framework, I think, but we'll see. We shall see. So anyways, version 1.14 came out. You can see some enhancements to the framework itself. A bunch of details there. Anything big here? I'm just kind of glancing through it real quick. New control to load term sets. That's nice. They got a setting to specify item creation is enabled, disabled, as well as item deletion, disabled, enabled. They added Chinese localization. Added a is hidden property. Nice. So a couple things there, yep. Super cool. Microsoft Office 365 now available in Mac App Store. What? I gotta go check that out. I'm gonna load up the old MacBook and see if I can find it. So heads up, Mac users, Microsoft's full Office 365 suite has finally made its debut in the Mac App Store. With one click, you can now download the Productivity Suite, which includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneNote, and OneDrive. Once you download the bundle, you can purchase an Office 365 subscription from inside the app. That's pretty awesome. No, I don't want reminders. Well, pretty neat. No screenshots of the UI, really, but yeah, I've been using the Insider branch of Office on the Mac for a while now. And I have to admit, the dark theme for Outlook drives me nuts. The whole UI is dark like that, like you see in this screenshot, but the area where you read the email, the content of your email that you're previewing, is blazingly white, right? Like super bright white. And it's just such a stark contrast. It's so irritating. Anyways, Skype Room Systems rebranded as Microsoft Teams Rooms. Check this out. I don't think I've checked this out over the past week, covering daily news. Microsoft on Wednesday announced that rebranding of its Skype Room Systems product line of partner-built video conferencing and meeting room devices, which are now called Microsoft Teams Rooms. A list of room systems by Microsoft still currently shows product bearing the old SRS brand. Partners that have built Skype Room systems include Crestron, HP, Lenovo, Logitech, and Polycom. Possibly new Microsoft Teams Rooms devices. Geez, it's so hard to say, right? Microsoft Teams Rooms. Devices from these vendors will get further described at the Integrated Systems Europe event coming up next month. All right. What else is of note here? Microsoft's already upgraded 2,500-ish conference rooms at its Seattle facilities. According to a Jan 14th announcement, the upgrade gives employees a single way to join meetings and regardless of the device they use, according to Microsoft. Okay. Well, that's kind of cool. Probably pretty handy, eh? What's going on with you guys out there? What's up with chat? How y'all doing? I'm gonna keep going here. So, Teams migration guidance. In related news, Microsoft on Tuesday indicated that it has updated its fast track online guidance for carrying out moves from Skype for Business to Teams. Okay. Yeah, I have completely moved over to Teams, so I actually use it for all of my customer interfacing, scheduling of customer calls, etc. So I can attest to the, I guess, finished and production quality of the product. And the customers seem to enjoy coming into a Teams meeting now. Everyone's like, "Ooh, Microsoft Teams." So it's been fun. It's a good product. Office 2019 versus Office 365. What's really happening? Let's check it out. Microsoft's release of Office 2019 this week has triggered a bit of confusion in their user community. Your questions are understandable as this release marks an important change in the way that Microsoft makes and sells its office productivity solutions. And if this release is confusing to you, take heart. It's confusing to just about everyone, myself included. So I spoke with Microsoft Corporate Vice President Jared Spataro at the Software Giants Ignite 2018 conference, and he neatly cleared up the confusion. Let's see what he said. 2019 is the latest version of Microsoft's standalone Office Productivity Suite. It's what the firm now calls the perpetual version of Office, or what old-timers like myself might call on-premises. And that's for a good reason. As Spataro told me, Office 2019 doesn't offer any of the cloud-connected features that Office 365 subscribers would see using the exact same apps. Thus, it is, in fact, a subset of Office compared to the versions of the suite or the applications that Office 365 subscribers see. Interesting. So you get a different experience based on how you've licensed the product. You can see here the Microsoft or Office 365 branding is there when you load it up. The About box that pops up while it loads will read Office 365 rather than the version number like that. We've evolved Office 365 to address how customers work today. They want to use the bigger screens on PCs or Macs for creation, but they also want to work offline and on mobile devices. So we're adapting Office to take advantage of each device type and scenario. Good to know. Oh, sorry, I'm just checking a couple of alerts there. All right, so that's a pretty good bit of information there about Office 2019 on-prem version versus the 365 offering. Let's see, cloud customers pairing AWS and Microsoft Azure according to Kintic. Let's see what they're saying. So thank you guys for joining. This is a recap of our weekly newsletter roundup. We send out a newsletter every Friday, in case you didn't know, that really kind of encompasses all the last week's news regarding SharePoint, Microsoft, etc. So this is us just kind of going through that newsletter together with you guys. Cloud customers pairing AWS with Microsoft Azure according to the Kintic. What is that? Multi-cloud may eclipse hybrid as a deployment mantra for enterprise cloud deployments. Simply put, you'll wind up using a bunch of clouds. All right, AWS and Microsoft Azure may be fierce cloud rivals, but enterprises are pairing both giants up in multi-cloud deployments, according to a survey. Okay, so Kentic is a network analytics company. Their survey, which covered 310 technical and business executives, was taken at AWS reInvent in November. Now the results have been tallied. There are a few points worth noting. Multi-cloud deployments are happening at a quick pace. The most common cloud combination was AWS and Azure, but there are customers working on Google Cloud and maybe... Doesn't IBM have a major cloud offering, I thought? According to the Kentic survey, 97% of respondents reported their companies use AWS, but 35% also said they actively use Azure. 24% said AWS and Google Cloud. The biggest challenge is managing cloud costs, and some 10% of respondents still track AWS costs with spreadsheets. Nearly 30% of respondents said the biggest cloud challenge is cost management. That is faux show. But I do like the tools and the things that they put into place to help us manage that, so that I can turn a VM off after 7 p.m. every night or something like that, right? I mean, it's kind of an old school way of doing things, but it works to save costs. Which does your organization use? Azure, yo. What's your greatest challenge with cloud management? Cost management, number 1. Number 2, security. For instance, IBM said on Tuesday it plans to close its Red Hat acquisition, which was all about open multi-cloud hybrid environments. In the second half of the year, IBM CFO said on IBM's fourth quarter earnings, companies such as Vodafone and BNP Paribas are leveraging the IBM cloud, where they benefit from our hybrid multi-cloud capabilities and access to the most advanced technologies. All right. What else? Any other cool points here? Security is number 2. Yep. 54% of respondents have a cloud monitoring tool, but log management and application performance management tools are being used too. In fact, 59% of respondents have at least 2 tools for cloud visibility. Job titles, C-levels, cost management, security, developers, cost management, and performance. What do you use to understand the drivers of data transfer costs in AWS? Built-in tools, CloudWatch. It's an interesting report. I'm digging it. It's kind of, I guess, what you would assume would be the concerns. Microsoft unveils Azure DevOps Server 2019 RC2. Well, let's see what they say. E-Week. Get me on to the news. I clicked it. I really hate these. Oh, God. So old school. Consuming my page with your ad. Come on. All right, Microsoft unveils Azure DevOps Server 2019 RC2. This is the final release candidate for Azure DevOps Server before the full final version is released in the coming months. If you're not familiar, Azure DevOps is the new name, moniker for pretty much Visual Studio Team Services. So if you're used to, back in the day, having a TFS instance to do your source control and your code repositories, etc., it's called Azure DevOps now. The majority of people seem to be migrating to Azure DevOps cloud offering, but if you're still using DevOps Server on-prem there in your infrastructure in your organization, then yeah, this applies to you. So RC2 is coming out. Let's see, there's a wide range of new features since the earlier version, including support for Azure SQL Database, a new navigation experience, an available analytics marketplace extension, a new work items hub, support for draft pull requests, new boards, backlogs, and sprint hubs. So there's a bunch of new stuff in there. If you're on the cloud version though, man, this stuff just rolls out so fast, and there's barely even an announcement. It's just like bam, new stuff. I really dig it though. The new Azure DevOps is just an amazing tool. And if you're in this space, technology space, and you need, sort of tracking against your development efforts, and it doesn't even have to be development. You could be using it as a project management tool even. We do that a lot. So for instance, our sales team uses Azure DevOps to track all the tasks that we have outstanding to get done as a team, right? So it doesn't have to be development related, even though it is focused on that. but you get 5 free licenses, I think, with your Azure DevOps. So you could actually use it with your first 5 employees for free indefinitely. So cool tool. Microsoft Bing is restored in China after nearly a day-long outage. I did see something about this, but I didn't catch the gist or the details, I guess. Users first reported the outage Thursday morning local time, late Wednesday evening in New York. Service was restored by 4:30 p.m. in New York on Thursday. The temporary blockage of Microsoft's Bing comes at a time when the US and China are locked in a long-running trade dispute. They first reported it, yeah. Temporary blockage of Microsoft's Bing comes at a time, yeah. Restore, where's the reason? Internet. Bing is the last major non-Chinese search platform that operates in China, and has apparently escaped a more permanent bar for the time being. So, did they describe why it was blocked? No, just an outage. That's all they say. Okay. I don't know if that warrants top news, but don't you know? Alright, so there we go. That's our top news for the week. Let's look at some of the blogosphere here. I'm just going to skip through a little bit of this just to make way, because we got about 10 minutes left. How you guys doing out there? Anybody got any questions? Any of this news impact you at all? Around the blogosphere. Office 365 groups for SharePoint team sites. Which one? What do I use? This guy's hopefully going to help you figure that out. Let me explain the difference between a regular SharePoint site and an Office 365 group. Then I will provide some guidelines. So a regular SharePoint site, is there like a one-liner here? No. Sites, let's see. We've had this forever. Up until Office 365 groups came out, this was the only place we could create and have for collaboration. Sites have been used for document management, but you could also spice them up with other web parts, task lists, calendars, etc. Over the last year, though, classical SharePoint site got some extra love and renaissance with a modern page experience. Yeah, if you haven't been following, man, there's massive amounts of modernization going on for SharePoint. So even if your internet is full of those classical sites, you can easily convert them. And yep, that's more news that came out. New conversion experience for those pages, your classic SharePoint pages into these more modern. So here's a good example. See the screenshot here? This is classic SharePoint. You see how you kind of have this region here, they had the calendar, you had a little web part here for announcements, etc., etc. Well, the new modern look looks just a whole lot better. It's cleaner, it's minimalistic, it's got nice defined lines with white space. Looks great. Anyways, why choose a SharePoint site over an Office 365 group, this guy's saying? Here's what you get as a part of an Office 365 group if you didn't know when you create one. When you create the group, you get an email distribution list, you get a group calendar, you get note-taking, so it creates a notebook, a OneNote notebook for that particular group. You get task management tool, so you get the planner, and planner is a really cool, we have a product that kind of adds on to this and allows you to take existing SharePoint data and sort of put it into Kanbanized views so that you can move and drag and drop things between columns. And Planner is Microsoft's offering to, it's pretty much Trello, right? If you know what Trello is, it's very similar to that. Chat tool, see a note below. Let's see, MS Team. So you get an MS Team chat channel. That's not a channel, that's an actual team, right? But yeah, I'll leave it at that. You get a place to chat with your new group. You get SharePoint site collection. So a site collection in SharePoint is built, so you do still get a SharePoint site, but you get all this other stuff around it, right? So I'm guessing he's going to say this is why you might go with a group over SharePoint. Let's see. So you use 365 groups if you want quick and easy collaboration, want the ability to have informal meeting spaces, have short mini projects, don't want to be burdened by managing SharePoint team sites. But you want to use SharePoint if only need a place to share documents, links, images, and don't require social collaboration tools. I just can't imagine the use case for this nowadays. I mean, I guess there is. There's still going to be a use case for that, but more often than not, I think you're going to find the groups incorporates just so much that it applies to your small projects and your small teams and whatever. So I would kind of lean towards 365 groups almost the majority of the time. I'm going to quickly read through a few of these until one grabs my attention. I did see this, SP TechCon. That's the big conference happening February 10th through the 13th, I believe, in Austin. We'll be there, so if you guys are going and you haven't bought your tickets yet, reach out to me. We've got a discount code to get you discount on those tickets. What else? 5 reasons to focus on bad data in SharePoint. Add a new OneNote notebook to a SharePoint site. January 2019 SharePoint modernization news. Yep, there's a whole bunch more. Actually, this is a good post. If you don't have that one already, I'm going to paste that into chat because this is a great resource for catching up on all the news that's currently going on for the modernization effort of SharePoint. What else? SharePoint emoji and site name. Updated SharePoint patterns and practices graphics presentation. SharePoint hybrid picker does not run prerequisite checker. Okay. That's probably a good note if you're in the admin side of things. Using document IDs with SharePoint Online. Okay, aggregating planner tasks to SharePoint using Flow. How to stop site and file sharing in SharePoint and OneDrive. We actually talked about that during Open Chat this week. Wizard-based column formatting options now available in SharePoint Online. I'll probably touch on that real quick. The SPFX Workbench Customizer, Microsoft Flow managing your Flow owners. Okay. And then Gulp Dist. Yeah, we looked at that this week as well. Let me look at this one real quick because this seems like more of a use case for your power users and your front-end users, and add some real good functionality to sort of out-of-the-box SharePoint. So, excuse me. So what they did was they released this new wizard-based column formatting solution. So now that when you go and start editing list data and list structure, you can actually start to conditionally format like you might be familiar with doing in Excel. So if value equals this, give me this shaded color, right? And so so them adding this to SharePoint lists is a nice tool for I guess business users to have the power to sort of add visuals to your data that it's in SharePoint. So this is a nice step in a walkthrough and how to use that, and kind of shows some of the functionality there to where you can see here they're picking against the due date column, and they're saying, if due date is before today, then make it this color. You click on this thing, you get a color picker. If it's is today, then it's green. So pick your colors, apply it, blah blah blah. Looks like they got some probably some templates and themes there. So all kinds of great functionality there to add some visuals to your data in SharePoint. All right, I think I'm just going to step on down to the events and we'll be done. So a bunch of SharePoint Saturdays coming up. We got SharePoint Saturday in North Germany in Bremen, Salt Lake City, Chennai, Cairo, where else? Hyderabad, Chevy Chase. I'm probably going to have to go to that one, huh? Let me open that one up in another tab. And then they got one in Omaha. So those are a bunch of SharePoint Saturdays. If you've never been to a SharePoint Saturday, it's a great way to network. You don't have to know anything. You don't have to know anybody. You just show up and just kind of pick your session you want to attend. They bring in a bunch of talented speakers, MVPs in the industry, etc. So it's really beneficial. You get a lot of the intel right up front that you just don't see out in the world until after the event. So you get to learn, and do sort of some deep dives into some specific areas that you're interested in. So every time I go, I kind of attend the developer-ish sessions, but not always. I got to attend a great one with Susan Hanley on information architecture and SharePoint hub sites, and that was it was awesome. I had learned so much last time I went to SharePoint Saturday, and I was able to bring that back to the team here and just kind of do some knowledge transfer on that. Excuse me. Fighting this cold still. All right. What else? What other events? We've got building modern SharePoint applications using SharePoint Framework. So I think this is an online course that you can register for. So if you're on that developer side and interested in advancing your skills with the SharePoint Framework, then it looks like you've got an opportunity here to attend that. And I think it's online as well, but it's being streamed or broadcast from New Delhi. Kind of interesting. What else? I talked about SP TechCon. We'll be there. The North American Collaboration Summit in Branson's going on. And then SharePoint Conference coming up, May 21st to the 23rd. That's the big bad conference. If you've never been and you're in the SharePoint space, you gotta go one time. Really, really cool. Microsoft dumps a ton of money into it, or the sponsors do anyways. So, oof. I'm gonna get better, I promise. But thank you guys for jumping on. That's pretty much it for the weekly newsletter. If you don't know who we are and you're just kind of tuning in, we're Bamboo Solutions, and we provide products and services on the Microsoft SharePoint platform. And we kind of do anything around SharePoint. So whether it's server configuration, administration, development, you name it, training, we do it all. So anyways, that's who we are. And you can find us online at bamboosolutions.com. If you want to ask me any questions or get in touch with me about anything at all, then you can reach me at sales@bamboosolutions.com. And yeah, I'll get back to you. So we stream now every day at 11 a.m. Eastern, and I do sort of an open chat every morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, just to kind of hang out, be available for questions, answers, blah, 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 blah. So feel free to join me on those mornings. I usually cover all the latest news that's on Twitter for SharePoint in the mornings, and then Wednesdays at noon, we do product use cases and product walkthroughs, like demos of our products, if you're interested in seeing those. And then Fridays we do this. We do the open chat in the morning, and then we do this at noon. So lots of opportunities to kind of connect with us online. So, please take advantage. If you need anything at all, just reach out. Like I said, sales@bamboosolutions.com. Thank you guys for watching. Anybody got any questions out there before I hang up? What's going on in chat? I haven't heard much during the stream today. Derek, what's up, dude? Hey, thanks for watching, man. All right, on that note, I will take off. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend. Happy Friday. We'll see you Monday morning at 11 a.m. for Open Chat. Peace out.
Ripping harder, more less. Never stop, no rest. Till the stress is breath in my chest. Till it's diamonds wrapping my neck. Progress to a god from a goddamn mess. Hopeless, more tests.